So this film is known as the X-Men film that put the series back on track. It fixed the series, because there were a few movies in there that really sucked, but now we can forget about them. All thanks to this movie. X-Men Days of Future Past. So X-Men Days of Future Past starts out in the future, and the world is being run by these machines called Sentinels. Just like in the comics, these Sentinels were designed to kill mutants, and the Sentinels have pretty much wiped out every mutant that lives. I mean, there are a few who are left. They're like the Resistance. They're like our main X-Men characters that we all know from the older films. So when Wolverine shows up, they come up with a plan. Kitty Pryde can send him back in time to the 70s, which is when these Sentinels were first created by a scientist named Bolivar Trask. Trask was killed by Mystique, but because of that, they used her DNA to create these super sentinels that are running the future. So the mission for Wolverine back in the 70s is to find Charles Xavier and Eric Lehnsherr to try to convince Mystique not to kill Trask. Just right from the beginning when the movie starts, you are sucked in. Because when you see the Sentinels actually killing some of these characters that you know from the older films, like Iceman, you're like, holy shit, yeah, they're not messing around. This is some serious shit. The mutants have a negative a billion chance of survival. They're all gonna die. So when Wolverine goes back, you're like, no pressure. And then when we get to the 70s, you're like, okay, here we go, we're going on our mission. It gets a little lighter in mood, but you still have it in the back of your mind. You're like, yeah, he better not fail at this. And so we find Charles and Magneto, once again played by James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, and once again, their chemistry is perfect. Following the events of X-Men First Class, Charles Xavier is at his lowest low. He lost his best friend and the person he saw as his sister. He has nothing left, but you're like, dude, you gotta have hope again, because we gotta get this done. Magneto's off somewhere doing evil shit, and when he meets up with Charles again, you're like, oh, this is gonna be good. Charles gets pissed. He's like, you abandoned me, dude. What the fuck? That's the general gist of it. But before I go on, there is a character in this film that I had to talk about. Complete show stealer. You know I'm talking about Quicksilver. This dude is a badass, and I'm really glad he's gonna be in Apocalypse. One of the most memorable scenes in this movie is when they're breaking Magneto out of prison. They're in this kitchen. All these guards just come out of nowhere and start shooting at the guys, and then you see Quicksilver. Time slows down around him, but he's moving at normal speed because that's his power. He's really fast. So he's running on the wall. He's moving guys' arms and shit. Jim Croce starts playing in the background. If I could keep time in a bottle, the first thing that I like to do. Just as far as action scenes go, that was definitely one of my favorites of the year. And from what I've heard, in X-Men Apocalypse, there's a scene that's better than that. I can't wait to see it. The thing that really makes this movie so great for me, though, is the tension. Like I said, this is the only chance for the mutants to actually have a secure future. Otherwise, they're all going to be killed by the Sentinels. And so throughout the entire movie, you feel the tension just winding and winding and winding like a guitar string. I had to do that. The tension gets to like the same level as Back to the Future, where Marty's in the DeLorean, he's gonna go back, but then the cable breaks and you're like, oh my god, he's not gonna make it. It's like that. Funny coincidence since they're both films about time travel. But to add to this tension, this movie also has really good morality lessons about never giving up hope in the most dire of situations. That's a really good thing to learn. The score for this film is John Ottman. He composed the music for the first two X-Men movies. Just like the director of this movie is Bryan Singer. He directed the first two films as well. And it is awesome, man. This score, I love this score. The main theme, you know, like the main theme actually plays in the 20th Century Fox logo at the beginning of the film. It's so damn memorable that whenever I see a 20th Century Fox film from then on, I actually always hum the X-Men theme in there. That is actually a 100% true fact, because the score for this movie is that good. Now, I think about a year after this film came out, they released an extended edition they called the Rogue Cut, which I was really excited for because Rogue was always the X character that I had a crush on, and she was like nowhere in the original cut of the film. She was in like 2 seconds and that's it. So when I watched the Rogue Cut for the first time, I was like, okay, well, it's not all about Rogue. You watch it just for Rogue, you're gonna be disappointed. It's really just the extended edition of the film. That's really what they should have called it. But I understand why they called it the Rogue Cut, and I would explain it to you, but that would spoil it actually, and I'm not gonna do that to you guys. So if you want to watch the Rogue Cut, just know that it's not all about Rogue, but it is the version that I'm gonna be watching from now on whenever I watch X-Men Days of Future Past. X-Men Days of Future Past was my favorite movie of 2014. Whenever I hear someone describe this movie as average or okay, I just don't get it. It is the greatest X-Men movie ever made, I think. The acting is superb, the score is awesome, the action, the tension is what this movie's all about. For real, dude. I can only hope that Apocalypse is gonna be as good, but I don't know. Big shoes to fill. So X-Men Days of Future Past, have you seen it? Where does it rank among all the X-Men movies for you? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.